Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I will present to you about the impact of online or offline learning on EFL students' perspective. With myself, my name is Akmal Bagus Jauhar with number 205303 time 14. Okay. Okay, first is background of study. In this chapter, the researcher discuss about the background of study, statement of problem, the objective of the study, the significance of study, and definition of key terms. First, the technology-based learning is immersely used in the instructional process as a supporting media to deliver knowledge in a more attractive, flexible, and convenient way. Lecturers and students in universities can now access the internet for various educational purposes such as looking for new learning materials and interacting visual outside the classroom. Online learning help enhance teaching effectiveness and complete inadequacy of conventional education. Online learning also lets students actively engage in learning activity and make them change their habits in learning from passive acceptance to more active, self-oriented learners. Online learning can enable students to gain educational material and to participate in learning along with other students and teachers. Online learning creates a more convenient and flexible teaching resource for students to acquire knowledge. Online learning approaches the learning process by using communication technology. Therefore, technology such as the internet makes learners and lecturers be brought together for learning purpose without barriers. Okay, this is a research question. The question is, how can the online or offline learning can give much benefit to EFL students? And the next is objective of the study. The researchers want to know how far the application of online or offline learning to EFL students. The significance of the study. The first is for the student. The specific benefits for students are students can improve their components aspect. And second is for the teachers. It is expected that it can make the teachers will consider the impact during online or offline learning and have to know the both learning consequences. And the third is for the researchers. The researchers hope that this research has benefit and change in the teaching and learning process of English. Scope of limitation. The scope of this research is any discussion about online or offline learning and EFL students. The limitation is on the discussion about the online or offline learning of English teachers on EFL student learning process. Okay, theoretical framework. The first is definition of online or offline learning. I give some little definition. Offline First is offline learning. Offline learning is commonly known as traditional learning that provides a face-to-face learning activity in conventional face-to-face classroom settings. Traditional learning employs zero online technology use, whose learning contact is provided to in writing and totally such as lectures and textbooks. And the second is online learning. Online learning refers to technology-based environment where students are required to have supporting learning tools such as computers and internet connections. Okay. Online learning is a set of learning process which includes e-learning, internet learning, distributed learning, network learning, telelearning, virtual learning, computer assistant, learning, web-based, and etc. Although there are many definitions of online learning, no specific complement refers to online learning itself. Okay, I will the second is personal learning experiences. The first category in the personal experience of the student work in both offline or online learning activities. Okay, the example is the first is positive experience. The researchers asked the participant about the most interesting learning mode in the teaching learning process that they had attended. The study found that the participants showed their own views about the interesting aspect of the both offline and online learning activities. And the second is negative experiences. The interview result about found a pattern about negative experience and the difficulties faced by the students within online, offline, or an online learning activity. Okay, that's for number three. I'm sorry. Okay, the next is previous related studies is CPD News Team 2018 July 31, the key difference between online and offline learning. Research method approach. In this approach, the study employed the qualitative research method with the social phenomena approach. Data. The data in this research are point of the text from the impact of online or offline learning on EFL students' perspective. Source of the data. The data source is an interview of EFL learning student to know the impact of online or offline learning. And the next is technique of data collection. The first I2 is observation. The first process carried out to obtain information from data. At this stage, the researcher collects information related to the topic. This information can be obtained from many resources. And the second is interview, a technique to distribute questions. Structured interviews are usually conducted for a specific purpose to obtain certain information from the subject. And the third is documentation. Documentation serves as a support for interview techniques so that the data obtained can be trusted. The next is data analysis. The technique of data analysis is case study analysis. The first is determine research questions. And determine research questions and defining carefully the question will begin with what do you think about or online or offline learning and which one has the biggest impact to you. And the second is case of data. Case or consequences of chess sentence of EFL students components process in data collection using observation, interview, and documentation technique and using case to case technique case data analysis. And the third is be prepared to collect data. The result of the first stage of activity is the obsessially or the classification of the results of the study. The teams or classification have experience naming by researchers. And the fourth is collect data in the field. Collect data in the field or collect and data set data save good field notes and maintain the organized database. And the fifth is analyze and present result. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.